Sin sometimes to us in a fallen world makes sense, but that temptation doesn't pay off. Giving in to sin doesn't pay off, and we're about to see that. As soon as they had sinned, we pick this narrative up in verse 8. And they heard the sound of the Lord God walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And the man and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord God among the trees of the garden. And the Lord God called to the man and said to him, "Where are you?" And he said, "I heard the sound of you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked and I hid myself." He said, meaning God, "Who told you you were naked? Have you eaten of the tree which I commanded you not to eat?" The man said, "The woman you gave to be with me, she gave me the fruit of the tree, and I ate it." And the Lord said to the woman, "What is this that you have done?" And the woman said, "The serpent deceived me, and I ate." And then the Lord God said to the serpent, "Because you have done this, cursed are you above all livestock, and above all beasts of the field. On your belly you shall go, and dust you shall eat all the days of your life. I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and her offspring. He shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel." To the woman he said, "I will surely multiply your pain in childbearing. In pain you shall bring forth children. Your desire shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you." And to Adam he said, "Because you have listened to the voice of your wife, and have eaten the tree of which I commanded you, you shall not eat of it. Cursed is the ground because of you. In pain you shall eat of it all the days of your life. Thorns and thistles it shall bring forth for you, and you shall eat the plants of the field. By the sweat of your face you shall eat bread, till you return to the ground. For out of it you were taken. For you are dust, and to dust you shall return." So immediately we see the first aspect of humanity and our relationship, both with God, creation, and others, is broken, is our relationship with God. We disobeyed him. Adam and Eve disobeyed him, and as a result, they hid from him in the cool of the day. Now, the cool of the day, sometimes translations call it the cool of the evening, is a time in the, later in the day when you would gather with family. Work has been done, and you just kind of spend time relating to one another. Adam and Eve had that. But now, when God comes walking through the garden, rather than enjoying that time with him, they're ashamed of what they have done. So the first aspect of their relationship that's broken is their relationship with God. But it doesn't stop there. When God confronts Adam about that, he immediately turns on his wife, and blames God, saying, "Well, the reason I've sinned is that you put this woman in the garden. You gave her to me, and she caused me to sin. So it's her fault." And then when he confronts the woman, she immediately, rather than taking responsibility, turns to the serpent and says, "The serpent is the one who caused me to sin." And what we're seeing here is a reversal of the creation order. See, in creation, we had God exercising authority over man, who is exercising authority over creation. There's this clear-cut kind of authority structure. And what we've seen here in the fall is that creation exercised its authority over man, who then turned and tried to define their relationship to God. And the result of that is that the things under mankind, as it was originally created, have fallen. Remember, what was Adam put in the garden to do? He was put in the garden to work the ground and to name animals. And what does God curse? He curses the ground. He says that, by the sweat of your face you shall eat bread till you return to the ground. The thing underneath Adam, it wasn't just him who fell. The things underneath Adam were also cursed. And the same is true for the woman. The woman was created to be Adam's companion, and also to help with the whole be fruitful and multiply aspect of Genesis. And what is cursed for her by God? He says, "Surely I will multiply your pain in childbearing. In your pain you shall bring forth children, and then your desire shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you. Her companionship, which is what she was set charge of, was cursed. And here's the thing, these curses just weren't limited to Adam and Eve. Far from it. In Romans, Paul, in reflecting on this, says that one man's trespasses led to condemnation for all men. So this curse that we're under, both separation from God, broken relationships with each other, and broken relationship with creation, is actually something that spread from Adam and Eve to the rest of mankind. If you don't believe me, ask this. One of the aspects of Adam's identity that was cursed was his work. Ask the mothers in our lives, or our sisters or our wives. When you go to work, does that seem like an easy, uncursed, wonderful aspect of life? No, there's wonderful things about that, but it's hard. It's not always fair. There are parts of work that aren't good. And the same is true for us husbands and us men. When we raise children, is that hard? Yeah, that's really hard. Do we have conflict with other men who try to exercise it over us or abuse us? Yeah, that can happen to us too. Adam and Eve, in their creation, weren't just the first two people. They were representatives of all of mankind after them, and they were put in charge of all creation. So when they fell, when their relationship with God was broken, that led to their children's relationship with God being broken and creation for their children being hurt. And for some of us, this can kind of seem a little bit arbitrary. It's like, really, God, you are cursing. You've have a broken relationship with two people, a man and a woman, and you're cursing all of creation, and then everyone that comes after them, for the sake of them eating this fruit, for them disobeying you. Like, why can't you just let them, take the punishment for that and let everyone else off the hook? Recently, I was watching Late Night with Jimmy Fallon, and he had Jerry Seinfeld on there. Don't worry, this is relevant. They were talking about the sexual assault allegations that have been sweeping through Hollywood, and specifically with Bill Cosby, because Bill Cosby is a famous comedian. He helped inspire Seinfeld and helped him find his comedic tone, really. And initially, Jimmy Fallon asked Jerry Seinfeld, okay, do you think you can separate Bill Cosby's comedy from him? Like, can you distinguish, okay, this is his work, this is what he's done, and this is the person, and there's no connection between the two? And initially, Jerry Seinfeld said, yeah, of course I can do that. I'm a comedian, I'm a professional, this is just fine. But over the course of a commercial break, he changes his mind, and he comes back and says, no. After thinking about it, I can't separate it. I can't separate the man from the thing that he was in charge, or kind of relating back to this text. I can't separate the man from his work or the man from his relationships. There's an interconnectedness between Bill Cosby and what was put underneath him, or what he created underneath him. And likewise, there's an interconnectedness between Adam and Eve and everything that was under them. When they disobeyed God and they experienced the curse and the isolation from God that came of that, so did we. So did we come under that state. And we're still under that state in many ways. You think about it. In what ways do we see brokenness in our world? We see it in ourselves, in our doubts, our fears, the pride in our hearts. We see it in our relationships with others, how sometimes we're treated unfairly, how we treat others unfairly. We see that in work, where sometimes we feel like frauds or that we're just spinning our tires, not accomplishing anything. We see that in society with corruption. We see that in creation when everything starts to literally shake apart. We are underneath a state of being cursed. But thankfully, that's not the end of the story.